The origin of He Who Remains was finally shown. After a long time of speculation about the origin of the protective version of Kang the Conqueror, we finally got a glimpse into the genesis of this character. A rather sad but fascinating story of a man who fought against his society to prove that he was much more than a failed inventor. In episode 3 of Loki, it has been shown how a villain or antagonist could have a good origin story, and that Marvel still has a lot to give us. In this video, we'll be looking at the end of episode 3 and what the origin of He Who Remains means for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you'd like to know more about this universe, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Welcome to the Oasis Geek. Episode 3 of Loki begins in 1868, where Ravonna is sent by Miss Minutes to deliver a book from the TVA to Victor, a boy who lives in a poor area of Chicago. It is here where it is revealed that Ravonna has been sent to this place to deliver a book that OB created, the TVA manual. In this manual, not only are the procedures of this agency, but it also talks about the technology and the purpose of the agency. Victor grew up with this manual, and it influenced his life the most. Victor had many ideas, but his inventions were considered failures. At the Chicago Science Fair in 1893, we saw Timely show his prototype of the Loom, the same machine that controls the timeline of the multiverse. People considered Timely a con man, as many of his inventions did not work well. At different points during the episode, we are shown how Victor has spent his whole life dreaming about the TVA, and thinking that one day he could be much more than a failed scientist. When we first meet him, he is presenting his prototype of the Loom, but he is competing with Thomas Edison, one of the most famous inventors in history, but he was not at his level, or at least this was the public's perception. When Ravonna tells Victor that he will eventually become the person who creates the TVA, Victor understands that all the sacrifice and ridicule towards his inventions were worth it. The first intention of He Who Remains, or Victor Timely, was to bring electricity to the entire planet. Thomas Edison and Tesla had only succeeded in doing so in small towns at the time. Victor would achieve what no other scientist of his time had achieved: renewable energy using the temporal aura. The energy that exists in the past, present, and future. Victor realizes that his dreams were real, that the TVA manual was also real, and that he must not only enlighten the planet, but save the multiverse. However, he does not want to collaborate with Renslayer. He distrusts her and throws her off the ship where they were, perhaps as a suggestion of Miss Minutes herself. But then this artificial intelligence reveals her goals. Since the first season, it was known that Miss Minutes was much more than a virtual assistant. It was theorized that it could be a variant of Ultron, or an artificial intelligence of He Who Remains himself, who was left in charge of confronting Kang the Conqueror. Finally, in today's episode, it was revealed that Miss Minutes has been in love with He Who Remains for a long time and wished to have a body, but He Who Remains never gave her a body and kept her as an assistant. The reasons for He Who Remains not giving Miss Minutes a body may be the same reasons Tony Stark should not have given Ultron access to his suit system. An uncontrolled artificial intelligence with a physical body is capable of doing anything. Perhaps He Who Remains knew that Miss Minutes could become bad, so he never gave her a body. During this episode, several theories that we have discussed on this channel were fulfilled, the first being that Thor was referenced in this episode. Although he did not appear physically, the existence of this character was remembered, and Loki now has him in his mind, so it is possible that he wants to ask for his help. It is also confirmed that everything is a time cycle. He Who Remains along with OB possibly created the TVA manual, and then that manual was sent to Victor, who began to learn and develop much more than the people of his time. Eventually he becomes He Who Remains, and loses his life to Sylvie. This is a cycle that had to occur, so that again the manual came into Victor's hands. Sylvie, Loki, and Renslayer are the creators of He Who Remains. It was interesting to see prototypes of many technologies that are in the TVA in this episode, such as the pruner or the loom, which is a reference to Victor's genius. As he mentions, he had very good ideas, but did not have the technology to realize them. This is a thought that is often mentioned in the scientific community, as the human brain has not changed much in thousands of years. It is believed that by the time of the Egyptians, there were people as intelligent as today, but they did not have the technology to develop their inventions. Victor Timely will have all the time in the world to achieve his goals, for as soon as he reaches the TVA or takes up residence in the void, a place that lies at the end of the world, his aging will stop. But perhaps the most shocking moment of this episode was Sylvie and Loki's confrontation because of Victor. Sylvie wished to destroy him before he became the person she considers the most dangerous in existence. But Loki could not allow him to do this, as it means the death of multiple realities and their people. He who remains must exist and must go to the TVA. After Victor revealed to him that he is a good person, Sylvie believed him, or felt sorry for him and let Loki take him away, but sent Ravana to the void, the place where he who remains' body was beyond time. She is next to Miss Minutes here, who tells her that she knows a secret about Ravana that she is not going to like. The episode closes leaving this question up in the air, but according to what has been happening, we can assume that the secret is that everything that is happening is part of a plan of Ravana and he who remains, but that her mind was erased to fulfill her role. It is also possible that she is a variant of someone he who remains loved, and that he abducted from that timeline. This could explain their emotional connection and Miss Minutes' jealous attack. We cannot think that this jealousy episode was a coincidence. I think it is fundamentally linked to what happens. But tell me, what are your thoughts about the origin story of He Who Remains? Do you think the series is misleading us, and this variant is not the original? And for more videos of your favorite series and movies, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You are on The Oasis Geek.